Hello, it's Miss O, and in this video I'm going to be covering with you sentence types, clauses, run-on sentences, and comma splices. Okay, there are 4 sentence types, the first of which being declarative sentence, which makes a statement. So example, I like cheeseburgers. That's my favorite sentence because I really like cheeseburgers. But it's the perfect example of a declarative sentence. It has a subject and a verb, and it makes a statement. Next is the imperative sentence, which gives a command, and the example I have here is bring me a cheeseburger. Interrogative sentences ask a question, and if you look at interrogative, you can almost kind of see the word interrogate in there. So if you think about what interrogation is, like if you watch any of those legal shows, cop shows like Law and Order or CSI Miami, things like that, you know that when a suspect is being interrogated, they are placed in a room and they are asked a bunch of questions. So that's one way that you can kind of keep in mind what interrogative sentences do. And the example I have here states, do you like cheeseburgers? Lastly, exclamatory sentences express strong feeling or emotion. And the example I have here is, this cheeseburger is delicious, because cheeseburgers are delicious. Okay, just to kind of run back with some review, subject plus verb equals a complete sentence. So in each of those examples that I just gave you, we had a subject and a verb for each of them. Here are some more examples for you. So Brian and Sarah bought a new car. This is a declarative sentence, and the subject here is Brian and Sarah, so it's a compound subject because it's more than one person, and what it is that they did is that they bought a new car. Next is open the door, and this is an example of an imperative sentence. This is a sentence that gives a command. Now, when it comes to finding the subject in a sentence that gives a command, the subject is always going to be an understood you. So the command or the instruction is being directed towards you, so that's going to be the subject of every imperative sentence. They call it an understood you, so it's not actually present in the sentence. So with you being our subject here, the verb is going to be open. Next is, where is your house? And this is an interrogative sentence. The subject and the verb can often be in reverse order when it comes to questions, interrogative sentences. So sometimes identifying subject and verb in a question can be a little bit tricky. Not always will you be asked to do so. But the subject of this sentence is house, and the verb is. So as you can see there, is appears before house in this question, which actually flips the order that subject and verb usually appear. But that's not to say that a subject and verb don't appear in interrogative sentences. They just oftentimes appear in reverse order. And then lastly, I love this show. And the subject here is going to be I, verb love. All right, let's talk about clauses. A clause is a sentence part that may or may not be capable of standing on its own, and this is going to make a little bit more sense as we get further into this. So the first type of clause is an independent clause, which is a simple sentence. It contains one subject and one verb. It also expresses a complete idea. So example here, we rode bikes. The next type of clause is a dependent clause. This is what we usually refer to as a sentence fragment. It's either missing the subject or missing the verb, might be missing both. It also doesn't express a complete idea here. So with this whole idea of clauses being able to stand on their own or not being able to stand on their own, dependent clauses cannot stand on their own. So for example, a rear wheel adjustment. We kind of need some more information here as far as what about a rear wheel adjustment. Did someone get a rear wheel adjustment? We don't really know. Okay, now that we've kind of covered each of those types of sentences and also clauses, and we've run back over subject and verb, I want to talk to you about simple, compound, and complex sentences. So this refers directly to sentence structure. A simple sentence, this is just one independent clause. So example, Moonlight Beach is a beautiful place. We've just got one independent clause here. Subject of this would be Moonlight Beach. Verb would be is. A compound sentence is two or more independent clauses that are joined by a coordinating conjunction, or a fanboy. And if you are unfamiliar with the conjunctions, I have another video that's on this channel that covers them for you. But the example here for a compound sentence is, Moonlight Beach is a beautiful place, so we visit there often. And we've got the fanboy so appearing there. And then lastly, a complex sentence is one independent clause and one dependent clause that are joined together with a subordinating conjunction. Example, after visiting Moonlight Beach, we ate dinner at Pizza Port. Now, there are also sentences that are comprised with multiple types of clauses to make up what's called a compound complex sentence. So this is two independent clauses that are joined with one or more dependent clauses. Example, I like cheeseburgers, but I love pizza since I love the taste of pizza crust. Another example, my car wasn't running properly, so I took it to the mechanic because it is still under warranty. It's a really good idea to make sure that you are familiar with how to write the simple, compound, and complex sentences first, then move on to some of the compound complex sentences. These are very common in English writing as well as speaking. However, in order to write them properly, it's best that you familiarize yourself with the other ones first before venturing into this as a habit. Okay, incomplete sentences, run-on sentences, and comma splices. These kind of get on my nerves a little bit. An incomplete sentence is missing either a subject or a verb. It doesn't express a complete thought. So this directly correlates with the dependent clauses that we were talking about because we're missing something in those, which is why they can't stand on their own. Example, banana slices and an apple. So we've got some stuff in this, but it's not a complete sentence. Also, things I overheard yesterday. Again, we've got some stuff listed here, but we don't actually have a complete thought. We don't have verbs for subjects. We're missing something. A run-on sentence. Run-on sentences happen when two independent clauses are pushed together with nothing in between. So there's no end punctuation, such as a period or an exclamation point. There are no conjunctions, so no fanboys, no subordinating conjunctions, nothing to kind of tie these two clauses together. They just sort of run together, hence the term run-on sentence. We loaded the van, the boxes were heavy. That's an example of one. I made brownies, save some for your brother is another example. So again, we need some stuff in between here to separate out the independent clauses that we have appearing in these sentences. And one perfect way you can do that is to put a period in between. So you can write, we loaded the van, period, the boxes were heavy, period, and also I made brownies, period, save some for your brother, period. That's a perfect way to correct that. There are some other ways that you can correct them too. Okay, a comma splice. This is a special type of run-on sentence. So we still have the two independent clauses that are being pushed together. The only problem is the only thing in between them is a comma and nothing else. And I see this a lot. The comma doesn't function as end punctuation at all. And if you use a comma between two independent clauses, you need to include some sort of a conjunction or joining word in order to tie those two clauses together. So example, I hope you enjoy your trip, comma, we're going to miss you. And thunder sounded in the distance, comma, it rained for an hour straight. So this is incorrect usage of the comma. We need something else to go along with these commas. We can correct these sentences by saying, I hope you enjoy your trip, period, we're going to miss you, period. We could also say, I hope you enjoy your trip, semicolon, we're going to miss you. And if you are unclear on how to use the semicolon or the colon or any other piece of punctuation, I do have a video that addresses that on this channel as well. Same with the second example. Thunder sounded in the distance, period. It rained for an hour straight, period. That's perfect. Or thunder sounded in the distance, comma, and it rained for an hour straight, so we can use a conjunction there. A semicolon is also appropriate here too, since we've got two independent clauses.